Hello everyone, I'm going to be playing more Jungle Rot today as I work on the new deck. I actually haven't been making that many videos lately because I've been trying to get more things going. Long story short, I've felt kind of like a zombie this entire week just because the weather's been getting warmer, it's been a little bit more difficult to sleep or something, and so it's been a little difficult getting the gears in my brain turning, but finally found a deck to build off of. It does what I want, it's pretty fun, pretty interesting. So, until I have everything done though, I'm going to be going back to regular, not really recording schedule, but just as often as I usually record going to be doing that, and it looks like I'm playing against frogs. Sadly, they have the swap frog, which, for anyone familiar with frogs, this is what makes them go off. I could have Fiendish Chained, but they would just be able to return it to the hand anyways because it's a cost to return it, so Chain doesn't do anything. And really, it would just be prolonging the inevitable of them setting up their grave. But I don't really care because I have all the cards I need to actually deal with their monsters before they can get out their bosses, which I'm guessing they're going to be using Monarchs, although they could be using Lancer Frogs or something, or any other number of things. And the question is, what do I want to go with here? I don't really have anything significantly amazing against frogs. I could go for Keeper of Genesis, not going to go for Freeze Dom, not really no reason. I'm just going to go for the Genesis just because it has attack, and if they do manage to summon anything else or set anything else, I can destroy it. Really though, I just wanted to draw cards, that was the only purpose of this. And let's see what it is, it's probably Dupe Frog or another Ronin Totem. Okay, it was a Dupe Frog. Honestly, I don't even really care what they search, just because they really already have what they need. They're just probably waiting on Monarchs at this point, assuming that they don't already have any in their hand right now. They could also be going for Lad if this is an older build. Really adding Treeborn to their hands, so I don't know why they would add Treeborn since they already have one in their grave. They were better off adding something like a Rodent Totem just so they could better set up what they have. I mean, they have some setup, but at the same time, it's only 2 monsters. Usually frogs like to have upwards of about 5 or 6 before they're comfortable and can actually go into really big plays. And oh, I thought they had Treeborn in their grave for some reason. How did that... I could have sworn that they had a Treeborn in the grave. Okay, whatever. So I was expecting them to get out a Tribute Summon this turn, but I guess that's not going to be the case. Maybe they'll use Ronin's effect, and then probably going to go for a Lancer. I haven't seen a frog deck not running Lancer in a long time. So the moment that they do that, I am going to be able to Fiendish Chain, and that's really going to hurt them because it'll mean that they'll have expelled all of their monsters out of their grave without me having to do anything. And then they're going to be stuck banished, and until they get another Lancer, which I do have another Fiendish Chain. No, I don't have another Fiendish Chain. I mean, I have a Theosophy or a Bottomless 4. They're not going to be able to do anything because frogs rely very heavily on their grave. So if their cards are banished, there's not a whole lot that they can do. And I mean, they have to do something at this point, otherwise they're going to take some pretty needless damage. And taking 2600 is kind of hefty, so don't want to be taking that, but okay, they do have another monster to set. I guess that's kind of a basic play for a frog deck. And cool, getting the Myrmelio. So I do have the Dionea in my hand, so whenever I want to, I can go into a rank 4. And sadly, ranking up against a frog deck really won't do me that much good, so I don't even care whether or not I draw into that. But at the same time, going for rank 4s won't be bad. I mean, they do special summon, so to the very least, I'll be able to nom a monster. And now that I have double trap holes, which that's everything I'm running, now that I have both of them, it's going to be really difficult for my opponent to actually get a monster to stick to the field. The only thing that they can really hope for right now is to just keep setting up defensive plays, but that won't really do much good for them. I mean, if that's all they can do is set monsters and go defensive, then it's basically my duel to win. They won't be able to put any pressure onto me. And you can already see I have 5 back row. I have 2 monsters, one being a pretty solid beater, and my opponent just cannot do anything against it. They're going to have to continue doing, okay, plays like these. And I'm waiting for them to at least go into a gotchi or an XYZ or something. I mean, that was their normal summon, so probably not looking for any monarch, or not going to see any monarchs this turn. I'm waiting for that Ronin Totem to come out. They do have double in their grave, so they could make something. Although they'd have to banish 2 cards to do so. Well, okay, if they start banishing, I could have a pretty good idea that they do have the Lancer. I mean, I assume that they have it in their deck. I'm just gonna say that that they do have it. But they probably don't have it in their hand, or else they would be banishing right now. And it looks like they're thinking, so maybe it's because they don't have, if they do have the Lancer, then they probably don't have enough frogs that they feel comfortable summoning it just yet. They also don't have, what is it, the poison draw frogs, so all they're going to be able to do is add more frogs to their hands, and it's not that, oh, they're not even going to, okay, they could have gone for the second Totem and then made a gotchi or something, but I guess that wasn't a good idea to them. So I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing, attack over their monsters. I would like to be able to do a little bit more damage, but I will settle for keeping the field cleared of all of their stuff. I'm fine with the field control. They could also be running it's pretty old school by this point, but they could be using enemy controller, so they'd be able to take Tyrus. And I could potentially stop that with Theosophy, but I would kind of like to save that if I'm able to. I can also use Theosophy during their main phase before they tribute summon, but because I don't know when or what they're going to be tributing for, I don't really feel like stopping that. Not to mention, if they summon something like Caius, really I just don't want them to hit Myrmelio. They can actually, I don't care about Tyrus, they can hit this all they want. Oh, and another Fiendish Chain, so once I get some of these cards out of the way, I'm going to be able to use my other ones too. And just a small note, I'm using Tyrus to attack the face down just because they do have a lot of defense, so if they had a 2k, 2k defender, I wouldn't be able to get over it with Myrmelio, just something small. And I guess I'm gonna have to keep playing the waiting game until my opponent actually does something. Because once they start going for their tributes, they won't have any monsters left on the field since Treeborn will be gone. They won't be able to set another monster, although they can use Totem, but like I said, if they start doing that, it's going to be good for me because they'll be expelling all of the monsters in their grave. Although they do have a pretty large amount by this point. They do have that, they have 5, if you want to count 6 for Dupe Frog, that's all they wanted. Huh. So, again, continuing not to do anything. Waiting to draw into some more monsters. I would like to use Daunea, but at the same well, actually, I'm gonna do that. It's not like they're running any spells or traps. I was saving it for a rank 4, but at this point I might as well just kind of push for some damage. So first off, run over the Treeborn Frog. I would like to do 26 straight to their face, but if this is a 2k defender, it's not worth it if I attacked it with Daunea. Yeah, it was another Dupe Frog, so that did have 2k defense, meaning I couldn't have gotten over there. So it would have been greedy to try to use the 2600 to attack directly. And really, at this point, it does not matter at all what they go for. Okay, another Swap Frog. I think that they're almost out of frogs, if that's what they're going for, just because there's not really a whole lot left that they even need in the grave. Well, except for Poison Draw Frog, I'm surprised that they haven't sent any of those yet. Kind of tells me that they might not have a Lancer or anything to tribute for, which is kind of surprising at this point. I mean, they have gone through a lot of cards, 15 to be exact. So they need to start putting some pressure onto the field ASAP. I mean, they're down to 2,700, and I'm going to start being able to hit them with 2 monsters in a row, unless they can also use their Ronin Totems. I mean, what else do they have? They have their Totems, but then that's it. I can continuously keep clearing them off the field, too, and because they will run out eventually, they won't be able to continue pumping the field full. So they're gonna have to go on the offense eventually. I mean, that's kind of how frogs win. Let's see, do they have a tribute monster yet? And they need something. Come on. Let's see, I mean, Monarchs, Lancer. Let's see, how many waters do they have? Is that 6? Yeah. Okay, they can't go for... wait, is it water? No, that's the E-Dragons. Whatever the level 8 water is that you special summon it when you have exactly 5 waters in your grave and then discard 2 cards. That could be potentially an option in their hand too, just because they have 6 cards in their grave, but then... Oh, they need 1 more, because if they banish with Totem, that'll put them down to 4. Ah, there's the enemy controller. That's pretty old school. That's fine by me. Oh, and they did it during their main phase 1. You're supposed to do this during your standby phase, so that not only do you take a monster, but you also get to bring back Treeborn again, so you have a tribute target. Yeah, I figured they would be going for Genesis or Tyrus just because it's the better option, but not really a big deal. I'm just going to Theosophy it so I can get more monsters onto the field. Oh, and they're going to tribute summon for it. Okay. That's actually a really good card. So this destroys all my spells and traps, or at least it would, so obviously going to Fiendish Chain it. They need an MST or another enemy controller for this to actually go off. Would kind of sting if they do have a way to get over this, because there goes all of my back row, but at the same time I have another Fiendish Chain and Theosophy in my hand, so I actually wouldn't be in that terrible of a position. Especially because I can guess that most of these are just going to be monsters. And okay, that's going to be it. I was expecting a little bit more. Then again, if these are all monsters, I guess that was all that they can do. So just so I can get over that, I'm going to go into a rank 4. What do I want to make? Gonna have to go for Dejin. How much defense does that have? Oh, it has 1800. Okay, I can't really do anything against that. In that case, I can make a Daigusto. Sadly, it isn't special summoned. Oh, you know what? I can just go for Black Shepherd Corn. That's right. It has equal attack. Doesn't need to be less. So, okay, I'll send this to the grave and then deal 1,000 to them. Okay, sadly this stays on the field because I didn't destroy it, but I do have a Theosophy as a chainable still, so that's more or less fine. And then even if they summon a Monarch, I don't necessarily need to negate its effect. I just need to remove it from the field because I have all the cards I need that right here in my hand and on the field. This could be a pure Spirit Frog deck. I mean, that's a thing. Which means they could be running Dark Dusk Spirit. They could be using the 2 Tribute Spirits too, one that discards and one that makes you draw cards. Let's see, what are you gonna do with this? Okay, if they're using that, it probably means that they have a Lad. So I'm just gonna not let them summon that because that would be kind of difficult to deal with right now. And then they'd also be able to special summon another monster from their grave, and I'd rather not let them do that just so I can make this faster. Isn't that interesting? I would actually kind of like to keep that. So, oh, then again, I want to call the Haunted even more. That's fine, I'll let that go through. I won't do anything about it. I don't really care if they get my Black Ship of Corn. Really, that was just to get rid of their monster, and that was its one-time purpose. So they can deal 1,000 to me and send Treeborn to the grave, but that's really, who cares? Alright, I would normally actually destroy this with Theosophy if this were earlier in the duel, but they really have all the setup that they could possibly need, so this is no longer a good target to destroy. Oh, they're gonna go for the attack? Okay. Honestly, I think that they should have used Corn's effect just to deal 1,000. Because now I'm not going to let them do any damage, and I get to destroy the card. So they essentially wasted all their plays just getting rid of one of my monsters, and they had to use a really valuable creature swap. So, that was kind of questionable. Although I don't know if they could have known to do that any better. I mean, they don't actually know what I'm going to summon, so I don't completely disagree. Here we go. Now they're going to be going for an XYZ play, I assume. Or they could just be summoning this and doing nothing else, although they really should go for a gotchi. Okay, that's probably what they're going to do. Now, because I have a Call the Haunted on the field, next turn, if I really want to go into Ice Lancer, I can, because I can summon another 5 and then negate the gotchi's effect and just attack over it. But gotchi on its own really isn't that big. I mean, it's only 2200 defense, so if I can, I'd rather just get over it. Or get over it by battle, I should say. I mean, I can also save the Fiendish Chain for it and then just use it next turn, but I think that would be incredibly wasteful, so I'm not going to do that. Actually, Lancer isn't sounding like a terrible option. I might just do that. Depends on what I draw into, though. Let's see. Artifact movement. Okay, so... You know, I'm actually going to use Dainea's effect and bring back Bottomless. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so... First bring back Dainea. Frog's naturally not using any spells and traps, so... There is no chance for me to special summon the other one and actually make use of it. And I get to normal summon this. So you go for the Freezerdon. And I'm doing this right now because Lancer isn't really going to be that useful down the road. The monsters that they're using, they all have big one-time effects, but that's just a thing. It's only one time, and then doesn't really do anything else after that. And I do want an artifact in the grave so that if I do have another Call the Haunted, I'm able to bring it back and use its effect. But Lancer's effect being just what the doctor ordered, so I can get over the gotchi, not have to use any of my other cards. And I'm going to be setting the Fiendish Chain. This is more important than a Theosophy because I already have a big monster on the field. Especially because after this turn is over, my opponent's turn that is, Bottomless will be off the field regardless of what they do. I'm not expecting Monarchs anymore, though I think I was right by saying it's a Spirit Frog deck. So, as long as they don't have another, whatchamacallit, whatever the bird winged beast spirit was that destroys all the spells and traps, as long as it's anything but that, I'm going to be able to use the Bottomless as opposed to the Fiendish Chain. You go for it. You can set up a grave all you want. At this point, I think they're just thinning their deck so that they don't draw into more of the frogs that they don't need at this point. Oh, they could also make another gotchi if they want, but I can just keep negating its effects and just running it over. And they could still be running a Lancer. Honestly, they should be. But looking kind of unlikely, honestly. What? Really? Not gonna... Oh, okay. Wait, I thought that only stayed on the field until the end of my opponent's end phase. Oh, it's your next turn. Oh, okay. In that case, let's see. I don't need artifact movement, so I'm going to be using that thing's effect with Monk. And I will probably go for another star drawing just so I can draw another card. Might as well. Then, what do I want to make? Daigusto Emerald at this point. I want to... Not only do I want to increase my draw power, but I want to put some monsters back just so I have them for later. Let's see, what do I have currently? Artifact monster. Okay, great. I have a lot of good targets. Summoner Monk. Then... Terrace. I'm going to put back my extra deck monsters and then an artifact. I don't really need those monsters in my deck aside from the artifact, so I think that's the best move. And gonna be just a little bit short, but at this point it is definitely almost gonna be a game. I mean, there's not much that they can do at this point. Realistically, frogs and spirits and stuff, they summon one big monster per turn, but then I can just Fiendish Chain it. or if they happen to special summon something, I can just use Void Trap Hole. Which occasionally I've seen people special summon Lancer, so that's the reason why I've had that in the field, although I'm starting to doubt that they're using a Lancer. Which is understandable. They probably don't need to recycle it that heavily. Like, if they're gonna win, they usually don't need more than this. And if they're gonna lose, they won't have time to actually banish all the stuff before they lose, so probably not a bad idea to not be using Lancer, just to get to the better cards first. But let's see if they rage quit or if they try to do something. I'm expecting that once they see the Fiendish Chain, they'll quit because they have no other options. Which, that's something that happens with monster heavy decks that aren't able to spam all of their cards all at once. When you stop their monster play and they don't have anything else left to do that turn, they essentially lose outright just because of that one play. But they do have a Treeborn Frog, so let's see if they go for a summon. Oh, Negatama, okay. This alone doesn't really do them all that much good. I mean, they can summon another Spirit, which is fine, but almost no matter what it is, it won't help them. I'm kind of expecting that they go for... Okay, they are going for the double tribute. Oh, yeah, there's the one that makes you discard that I was talking about. That would actually really hurt because my hand is completely full right now. But I'm just going to Fiendish Chain it, and hopefully that does everything I need. And then I can tack over it with Zero Lancer. And then that should be game after that. I still have 100 left from this battle, but then Daigusto can finish it off. So here we go, gonna use the Fiendish Chain. I don't usually have this many continuous traps on my field. Usually at least one of them would have been destroyed by now. I do have the double Cyclone, but it's not like they're gonna have any set spells or traps. So these, I guess, are here to stay until the very end. And let's see if they quit at this point. Although, oh no, they still have Ronin Totems. 3 of them. And enough monsters to actually use them. Okay, I spoke too soon. Probably not going to be game. Oh, if this had 100 more attack points, I'd be good. What? Why would you... Oh, okay, so they just wanted to be able to use Summoning Chain. Not bad at all. But they don't have anything that can attack this turn, so... What can they... I mean, they can summon a Lad, but then as soon as the turn ends, this is going to go back up to having over 3k attack. Definitely more than 2800, so even if they do have... Nope, not going to use a Lad. Okay, that wasn't bad. But still, that returns to their hand at the end of the turn. Let's see, they will... they're going to have to make a rank 2. But... I have a Dionea now, so all I need to do is make the Black Chivalcorn that I sent back to my extra deck, and then the 1000 will be enough to beat them. Assuming that they don't run out of time. I would rather that they didn't because this duel is almost over. Might as well get to finish it off. Oh, just going for the Rodent Totem. They probably did that just so they wouldn't run out of time. I'm sure that they wanted to go for another Gotchi or something. And... Oh, I didn't even... I was going to say I could have gone for the other one. Oh, I could also go for a Cowboy. Let's do that. I haven't used Cowboy yet, so... Using Cowboy's effect. Yeah. Okay, so that's going to be Cowboy for game. And if you enjoyed this video, please comment, like, subscribe, and stay brutal.